It's an ancient icon unlike any other, believed to have miraculous powers. Did it end a plague in ancient Rome? Was it really painted by Saint Luke on a table built by Jesus? Let's explore the story of Maria Salus Populi Romani and why Pope Francis chose to be buried near this ancient icon. This is the Catholic Frequency Podcast. Follow us online at catholicfrequency.com and on YouTube. The Maria Salus Populi Romani, meaning Mary, salvation of the Roman people, is a revered Byzantine-style icon enshrined in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, one of Rome's 4 major basilicas. This ancient image of the Virgin Mary holding the Christ child is considered one of the oldest and most venerated Marian icons in the world, with its origins steeped in both history and legend. According to tradition, the icon was painted by none other than Saint Luke the Evangelist, the physician and disciple of Christ, on a cedarwood table built by Jesus himself during his time as a carpenter. While many scholars disagree that it's that old and date the icon to at least the 5th or 6th century based on the style and materials used, many Catholic faithful do believe that the origins trace all the way back to the apostolic era, which, if true, would make it a sacred relic of unparalleled significance. The icon's journey to Rome is attributed to Saint Helena, the mother of the Emperor Constantine the Great, who is said to have brought it from the Holy Land in the early 4th century. Housed in Santa Maria Maggiore, the icon quickly became a focal point of devotion, earning its title as the protector of Rome through a series of reported miracles. One of the most famous stories occurred in 590 A.D., during a devastating plague that ravaged Rome. Pope Gregory the Great, in a desperate plea for divine intervention, carried the icon in a solemn procession through the streets of Rome. As the procession reached the mausoleum of Hadrian, legend holds that the Archangel Michael appeared atop the structure, sheathing his sword as a sign that the plague would end. Miraculously, the epidemic subsided, cementing the icon's reputation as a conduit of divine protection. Throughout history, the Maria Salus Populi Romani has been invoked during Rome's darkest moments. It was carried in processions to ward off invasions, famines, and natural disasters. In 1837, Pope Gregory XVI prayed before it as cholera swept the city. Once again, the icon was credited with halting the outbreak. Its ornate golden frame, encrusted with jewels, and the crowns placed on Mary and Jesus in 1953 by Pope Pius XII reflect centuries of veneration by the Catholic faithful. Popes have long turned to the icon for guidance and protection, especially before undertaking significant journeys. The tradition of papal visits to the icon before international trips began in earnest with Pope John Paul II, who saw it as a way to entrust his travels to Mary's care. Pope Francis continued this practice with remarkable devotion. Before and after every international trip, he would make a pilgrimage to Santa Maria Maggiore to pray before the icon, asking for Mary's intercession for his safety and the success of his mission. Pope Francis's connection to the icon runs deeper than that, though, because in 2018, he announced his wish to be buried not in St. Peter's Basilica, as is customary for popes today, but in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, very close to the Maria Salus Populi Romani. This decision reflecting his lifelong devotion to Mary and his desire to rest eternally close to the icon that has guided his pontificate. The choice of Pope Francis also aligns with his emphasis on humility, as Santa Maria Maggiore, while very grand, carries a quieter, more intimate significance compared to the grandeur of St. Peter's. The icon itself is a striking work of art, measuring roughly 5 feet by 3 feet. In it, Mary is depicted with a serene yet commanding presence, her dark eyes gazing directly at you, and the Christ child, held in her arms, raises his hand in a gesture of blessing. For the faithful, this ancient icon is a living link to the apostolic age, a sacred object that channels divine grace and miracles. For historians and art scholars, it represents the resilience of Rome's Christian identity. For Pope Francis, it was a spiritual touchstone, a reminder of Mary's role as mother and protector. If you're ever in Rome, visit the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, where it rests above the altar in the Borghese Chapel, surrounded by flickering candles and the prayers of the faithful. Soon, the tomb of Pope Francis will rest near this sacred relic, which countless faithful trust to protect the eternal city and all who seek its intercession. This is the Catholic Frequency Podcast. Thank you for listening. Follow us online at catholicfrequency.com, where you can sign up for our free newsletter, and find us on YouTube, as well as the X social media platform.